Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked where I climb the online VGC ladder in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and provide live commentary as I go. Today we are trying out a really fun team centered around Rain with Pelipper and Drednaw. This team has so many cool tricks up its sleeve, including Choice Scarf Tsareena, Assault Vest Kingambit, Choice Specs Toxtricity with Boomburst, as well as Sableye. I think it's just one of the most well-crafted early meta teams that I've seen that utilizes a lot of Pokemon that aren't super common right now. And Rain is also fairly interesting because it feels like it's really taken a hit relative to the other weathers, and I haven't seen that many Rain teams or cores really being used successfully early on, and this is definitely one of the best ones I've seen so far. So, as always, I'll do a quick breakdown of the team, but if you want to just skip to the battles, check out the timestamps in the description below. Thank you so much as always for watching. If you do enjoy, it would really mean a lot if you would consider leaving a like on the video or subscribing. It really helps me and the channel out a ton. So thanks so much, and let's talk about this team. So first of all, this team was built and piloted by a player called Joshua, who I've linked down in the description below, and it was used to get top 16 in a pretty large online grassroots tournament organized by Victory Road. By the way, if you want to play in these online events, I definitely recommend you following Victory Road, especially on Twitter. They organize these tournaments all the time, and they're just one of the largest tournament organizers, as well as one of the best resources for VGC. So it was held over the weekend of December 10 to 11. There were 465 players, and it was 9 rounds of Swiss with an X2 top cut. I'll also link this in the description below if you want to just check it out. But as you'll notice here, Joshua was able to go 7-2 in the Swiss rounds and then ultimately finish in the top 16. And he just has one of the coolest teams in the entire tournament with a lot of unique picks like the Sableye as well as the Toxtricity. Talking about the team now, by the way, rental code is right up there. Paste this down in the description below. In question of the day, I want to know how you would rate Rain out of 10 in this generation. We really have to start with Drednaw here. Drednaw's pretty interesting because it obviously existed in Sword and Shield, but didn't really see too much play. I think it's in an interesting place in the VGC metagame at the moment in Scarlet and Violet because, one, it gets fairly good coverage between Waterfall, Rock Slide, and Ice Spinner. Ice Spinner is really crucial because there's so many Dragon types running around right now, like Garchomp, Hydreigon, Dragonite, and Dragapult, for example, and so you get good coverage against that. With admin and this speed investment, you're essentially outspeeding everything when you are in the rain, bar like really fast Choice Scarf Pokemon, for example, and other Pokemon with speed control. But the idea is that you can often just lead Pelipper or Drednaw, and Drednaw applies a ton of offensive pressure immediately. You've got Water Terra to just really maximize your damage output, right? Like Water Terra, Waterfall in rain really just does so much damage. And Clear Amulet here is really valuable to make sure that you don't eat up attack drops from things like Intimidate, for example. And so Pelipper here is designed to support it. Fairly standard Pelipper here. Sometimes you might see Protect over Wide Guard, for example, but I think Wide Guard is just such a good move in the format right now, given the number of spread type attacks, like Golden Goals, Make It Rain, Garchomp's Earthquake/Rock Slide, just to name a couple, and so this is super valuable. And so Pelipper is really nice, obviously for Drednaw, but also just for speed control. I think, you know, setting up Tailwind can be really valuable because Pelipper actually can deal decent damage, especially with like Hurricane and Hydro Pump in the rain, for example. And so don't discount this, even though its base special attack isn't exactly the best. Like Hurricane and Hydro Pump just have such strong base powers, and Hydro Pump's damage output is further increased through the rain being up as well. So this is a really strong core in itself. The next core I want to talk about is actually Sableye plus Toxtricity. Now, Sableye is a fun Pokemon. I think one of the things about this Pokemon, though, is that it can be often difficult to use because it feels like it doesn't do very much past like 1 turn or 2 turns. It's really good in supporting its partners, but it doesn't actually really put on any offensive pressure. However, I think that it can be really valuable in this current format given the number of physical attackers that exist and given that you have access to Fake Out as well. I think like Fake Out as a move in general has fallen off a little bit in Generation 9, but I think Sableye is a really nice user for it, and it definitely can fit it onto its moveset as well. So the idea is that you can just disrupt with Sableye here. You've got Y-Lens to make sure that Will-O-Wisp's accuracy is higher and Snarl's accuracy is higher as well. And Quash is really nice for disruption. As you'll notice, this team uses like Kingambit. Kingambit's obviously a really slow Pokemon, but with Sableye you can just Quash and then not really care about Kingambit's speed. One thing to note is Kingambit really obviously matches up really well into Golden Go, but you actually can't Quash into Golden Go, so just keep that very specific interaction in mind. It's just a mechanic that, you know, I think is easy to forget about. I know I definitely forgot about it when I first tried out this team. So, yeah, the idea with Sableye here is that it's also a really nice partner for Toxtricity. Now, this is a Choice Specs Toxtricity with Punk Rock as well, and so you also have Overdrive, Sludge Bomb, Boomburst, and Hex. So Hex is a fun combination with Sableye. You can obviously Will-O-Wisp and then go for Hex, which, you know, does a lot of damage, but one of the main combos you want to go with here is just Boomburst. You have normal Terra, so you can Choice Specs normal Terra Boomburst, and it just does so much damage, and Sableye is a really nice partner for it because you can just Fake Out, you're immune to the Boomburst, obviously, and this thing can just snowball so quickly and pick up so many knockouts. And so, yeah, this combo can be really deadly if you put it into the right position. To round out the team, you've got a Choice Scarf Tsareena. This Tsareena also is Fairy Terra, so it's pretty fun because, like, for example, like, Garchomp was a Pokemon that I thought could be kind of annoying given the Drednaw, the Kingambit, and the Toxtricity. And so Tsareena has, like, Fairy play rough, which is really nice as a way to kind of surprise not only Garchomp, but other Pokemon as well. And this is just nice because you also have Queenly Majesty. That's just a really valuable ability in itself. And you have general good utility between Drop Kick, U-Turn, and Low Sweep. The final Pokemon is Flying Terra Kingambit. Flying Terra is really nice specifically to avoid those ground type attacks like that Garchomp that I talked about earlier. This is Assault Vest, just designed to do as much damage as possible, and you have good coverage between your two dark type attacks, Iron Head and Brick Break as well. And so, tons of different ways that you can play with the team. I think naturally, Pelipper, Drednaw, Sableye, Toxtricity are two, like, really strong leads to potentially default to. But I've really gone with so many different combinations. Like, it's fun. You can go with, like, Tsareena, Drednaw, right? And then you turn out into Pelipper to set up the rain, and having Choice Scarf here means that you can, like, set up the rain, but without having to rely on leading Pelipper, for example. And, yeah, Kingambit, I think, is an incredibly powerful, like, late-game sweeper for this team, and can really put your opponent in tough spots with just priority, you know, Sucker Punch, for example. And Toxtricity can also just deal massive amounts of damage, not only with Boomburst, but with its other type attacks as well. So yeah, this is a really fun team, and I can't wait to showcase it. So let's get started. Okay, we've got Golden Gull, Hydreigon, Azumarill, Talonflame, Breloom, and the Armarouge. I'm interested in just Pelipper plus the Drednaw here, maybe. Sableye can go for Priority Will-O-Wisp onto Azumarill and onto Breloom. Don't think it's really that valuable otherwise. Kingambit feels good damage-wise here. Toxtricity is super interesting as well. Like, what's their counter to Pelipper and Drednaw? It's probably a Breloom, right? Ooh, Breloom would actually be pretty annoying. I could always go Sableye Pelipper and then fake out into like a Tailwind. That might actually not be the worst consideration. It just feels fairly passive, but it sets up the back for success, right? And I'm thinking maybe like Drednaw and then Toxtricity. It does feel weird not bringing Kingambit here though, right? Kingambit feels really good. Yeah, maybe we bring Kingambit over Toxtricity. Okay, let's try this out. The main reason I wanted to bring Kingambit is because I think it has a really good matchup into both Golden Gull and Armarouge. But I guess, like, what's the likelihood they bring Armarouge? I mean, the other thing to consider is Kingambit's also fairly solid into Hydreigon. Just, like, we have so much bulk with the Assault Vest. And so it doesn't care as much about Tailwind, but like basically the idea of bringing my own Tailwind here is to let Drednaw can really thrive. Okay, so they're gonna go with Hydreigon on Talonflame, which I'm okay with. You know what's interesting? Like, do we think Talonflame has Protect? Because if not, I could actually just Fake Out plus Tailwind turn 1, and then Hydro Pump it turn 2. I guess we could also just trade Tailwinds, which isn't necessarily that bad. I guess I could always just Hydro Pump. Trying to think if I can stagger my Tailwind by a turn, whether or not I can get away with that. Okay, I'm just going to fake out Hydreigon Tailwind, I think. Feels fairly safe. Yeah, so we're going to trade Tailwinds, but that's okay because I have Drednaw on the back. So Drednaw is now going to have the Rain and Tailwind up, which is really good. This next one I can go for Quash into Hydro Pump on the Talonflame for a KO. I think I'm down for that. Talonflame could Protect here. So the other consideration was maybe clicking Snarl. If I wanted to read into Protect, Hurricane plus Snarl is another approach I could take here. But yeah, I don't know if I played turn 1 like optimally. Fake Out plus Hydro Pump on a Talonflame could have been nice, but the Talonflame Protector would be really bad. And then Hydreigon gets a free attack. Talonflame's going to make the switch. Okay. And that is going to be Golden Gull. Okay, I mean, Golden Gull does not really love taking a Hydro Pump. And yeah, as you'll see, it is immune to Quash thanks to its ability. We actually miss or dodge a Draco, which is really lucky. Pelipper here does have Focus Sash, so, you know, we're going to survive with 1 HP, but it results in a really, really big Hydro Pump there. It's interesting because we have Wide Guard, so if we think this is going to go for, like, a Make It Rain, I could Wide Guard into Snarl here. I don't hate that option, honestly. I'm really curious how fast the Golden Goal is here relative to us. If it's, like, ultra bulky. I'm kind of down to try the Wide Guard here. And then we'll Snarl. The downside is I can't quash either of my opponent's Pokemon right now, due to Hydreigon being dark and then Golden Goal's ability. Okay, they're going to go for Dark Pulse here. That's fine. Brings us down to Sash. They would have been better off actually just clicking Dark Pulse last turn, but... And it's Dazzling Gleam on the Golden Go. I have run into a fair amount of Dazzling Gleam Golden Goes recently. It's interesting to see that maybe pick up a little bit in usage. If anything, now I actually really wish my opponent hit that Draco Meteor earlier, because then the Hydreigon would be at -3 special attack after the Snarl and the Draco. Okay. One thing to consider is we don't necessarily just want to run out of rain. That could be pretty bad. So, for example, like switching Kingambit here is actually fairly safe in my opinion. And I'm down to actually just go for another Snarl. I brought Kingambit specifically to deal with this duo. So, the idea is if I conserve Pelipper, I can get another... Like I can get Rain up again later on in the game, and then Drednaw can really sweep in the end game. Drednaw hasn't even hit the field yet, but Sableye Pelipper has honestly put in more work than I expected it to, so I'm fairly happy about its performance. And like normally Sableye has the syndrome of like just doing nothing after turn 1, but it's actually been able to put in a fair amount of work for us here. Oh wow, interesting. They actually just Gleam again in the... Oh! I was gonna say in the face of a potential Wide Guard, but Sableye survives on 1 HP. Doesn't get any more clutch than that. So Snarl will finish off Golden Go. Hydreigon's at -2 special attack now. And Tailwind peters out on both ends. So they can set up another Tailwind with the Talonflame, obviously. But that's okay. Kingambit's fairly well positioned right now as well. And we have Quash, which is also pretty cool. Like, here I'm thinking we can actually just Brick Break. I guess I can't really do anything valuable here with Sableye, huh? But their last Pokemon's gonna be one of Azumarill, Armarouge, and Breloom. Breloom is probably the scariest, right? But I can burn it with Will-O-Wisp. I'm down to Brick Break here, and I probably actually want to switch this out, weirdly enough. And I'm actually... How many turns of rain do we have left? It's the last turn of rain. So what I'm going to do here is Brick Break into Hydreigon, and then I'm actually going to switch into Drednaw. So after this, like, I'll have... Because basically one thing I'm worried about is them just knocking out Sableye here. That makes late game Breloom really scary from their end, in my opinion. I'm going to bring a Drednaw first. They're going to set up Tailwind. Yep, that's fine. I actually think it was smarter for me to target Talonflame here. -2 Dark Pulse and a Drednaw. 60 damage, not too bad. And Brick Break from Kingambit will KO Hydreigon. Okay. This is Flying Kingambit, by the way. Rain stops. Yeah, the way I timed this is now I can switch Drednaw back out into Pelipper, set up the rain again. What is that? Oh, it's a Azumarill. Okay. Aqua Jet from that could be a pretty big problem for me. Drednaw has Rock Slide here. I mean, one play I could make, I think, is just switch Kingambit out into Pelipper and then just Rock Slide here. I don't think Terra Water really helps us much. Well, actually, it does get rid of the... Let's get rid of our water weakness. Or not weakness. Makes us resist water attacks. I don't know if I want to commit like that, though. Actually, I do think it's the right play. And the reason for that is because I don't think flying Kingambit really does anything for me. And the remaining Pokemon are Pelipper and Sableye. I don't think going for a Terra on either of those makes sense either. And since I'm bringing Pelipper in, I want to cover for Azumarill going for a water-type attack onto Drednaw. So the idea is to try to force this to be like a 4v1 or a 3v1 essentially after this turn. But We're dangerously low, obviously, with Sableye as well as the Pelipper. Okay, they just Flare Blitz. That's excellent. Rock Slide should KO if it hits here. So that's exactly the scenario I was going for. There's the recoil. Nice. We don't miss. A flinch here would probably just secure the game up for us, honestly. Great damage into a Azumarill. Let's see what they opt for. It's going to be super powered. That's actually probably one of the best things we could have seen, especially because we tear it into water. Okay, nice. I didn't even really consider that as an option, but that's huge. Because now you're at -1 attack and defense. So I can bring out Sableye. I think the question now is basically, do you have Aqua Jet and Protect? Because if so, you can obviously Protect here into Aqua Jet. Which would be a pretty big problem for me, actually. So we are just going to Fake Out here. And I don't want to miss Rock Slide, so I'd rather just Waterfall right now. Okay, nice. We don't see a Protect. And Azumarill flinches before we move, so that confirms Aqua Jet, most likely as well. Nice, and Drednaw deals the finishing blow there. I wouldn't be surprised if it was Assault Vest Azumarill. It was interesting, though, because my opponent actually never used Terra in that game, but that was a really fun battle. I feel like we got to showcase so many cool things, like conserving Pelipper and conserving Sableye. I mean, Sableye hanging out with 1 HP was absolutely huge. I think turn 1, I'm not sure I made the best possible play, because I had the ability to just, like, knock out Talonflame, but I wanted to cover for Talonflame protecting in that position. And, yeah, just make sure I didn't get, like, super... like, commit super hard into that, for example. But the Sableye was actually really nice for Snarl in that game, and we obviously got lucky dodging that Draco Meteor onto the Pelipper in the start as well. But yeah, I think I'm curious what Terra type they were with Azumarill there in the end. And yeah, given that like they didn't protect there and they had superpower, I think Assault Vest as an item makes a lot of sense there. Otherwise, you'd want to protect into Aqua Jet, obviously. And like that could actually win them the game, because then the problem is Sableye doesn't really have that much damage. My best means of damage is just Will-O-Wisp or Snarl, and then I've got the Kingambit in the back, and then I have to worry about, you know, like a Brick Break, for example, or Superpower just going into Kingambit. One thing I was curious about is if I burnt the Azumarill before they get Superpower off, does -1 burnt Superpower KO Kingambit from like the 50% range that we were at? I'm not sure, but yeah, what a game there. That was crazy. Okay, for this one we've got Sylveon, Rotom, Meowscarada, Garchomp, Orthworm, and the Armarouge. Huh, interesting. Pelipper Drednaw feels solid here. Sableye's Will-O-Wisp, not really that good. Honestly, I really want to give Toxtricity a shot here. Boomburst is pretty awesome, actually. Okay, why don't we try something like Sableye Toxtricity? Garchomp scares me a little bit. Kingambit feels fairly solid offensively here. As does Tsareena, I mean, everything feels okay. Question is really who I want to go with. If I were them, who would I go with? Rotom to counter the rain stuff. Garchomp. Meowscarada. I probably wouldn't bring the Armarouge. Maybe Sylveon or Orthworm. Okay, I feel like I should be bringing Pelipper because special damage in Orthworm is really valuable. Weirdly enough, like I don't even think Drednaw's that good here. I'm gonna go Tsareena as the last one. The reason I want Tsareena here is because I have Choice Scarf. And like, it has the potential of Fairy Terra. But honestly, I'm kind of interested in just going for Terra Toxtricity here with Boomburst. I think I've kind of committed to that. Let's see. Sableye can Will-O-Wisp the Garchomp, which is really crucial as well. It's going to be Rotom and Meowscarada. Works for me. With this lead, I think what I want to do turn 1 is just Fake Out into Meowscarada, Terra, and then Boomburst. Yeah, Terra normal, Choice Specs Boomburst really packs a lot of heat. So you can see, right, like I was talking about what Pokemon I thought they might bring. They did bring both Rotom and Meowscarada, and that makes sense, because the Drednaw Pelipper combo would not have been super strong into this. So once again, it's kind of smart team building, where you can see, hey, my opponent feels like they immediately need to respond to what is the most, like, strong duo on our team with Pelipper and the Drednaw. But as a result, we're able to have a lead that now gives us a fairly good matchup because they try to really counter this one specific combination. So I have a couple of questions here. One, the Meowscarada set. Do you have Protect? Two, if you do have Protect, are you Protean? Because if so, you'll change it to normal typing, meaning that I can quash you the subsequent turn. Three, do you have a Focus Sash? My dream scenario would be no Pokemon Protect here, and we just get a double KO. But let's see. Okay, Rotom protects, but that means Meowscarada isn't protecting. That is really good. It should be a KO. Nice. Unless you're... Okay, I was going to say, unless you're Covert Cloak. Nice. Okay, so this should get the knockout. Rotom protecting is nice as well. I have Quash and Will-O-Wisp pressure going into next turn. Toxtricity now just gets to Boomburst. And that's a KO. Amazing. Okay. So that's fun. We have Tsareena to deal with Rotom later on in this game. I have Quash. I have Will-O-Wisp. Garchomp was the main thing to be scared about earlier, but I can Will-O-Wisp that immediately. And Rotom is not a huge threat to either Pokemon out on the field at the moment. So that turn one's really good, obviously. But the game's still far from over. But the Choice Specs normal Terra Boomburst is just crazy damage. It does so much. It's really one of the most powerful spread attacks you can have in this format. So we're off to a good start. Ooh, it's actually Orthworm coming out immediately. Okay. Orthworm. That is kind of a nuisance. Yeah. I think my response here is... Like, Sableye's not really doing anything of value here. What am I worried about? Maybe Sylveon being in the back? I think here it's actually fine to switch Sableye out onto Tsareena, because, like, they're probably going to go for a... Oh, but then I guess I have to Boomburst myself. So there is value in staying in here, isn't there? Yeah, I suppose so. Okay. We can Will-O-Wisp here. And Boomburst. No Terra, no switches, no Protects. Okay. So we'll get Will-O-Wisp off. I assume it's Shed Tail. I think if it's the Iron Defense Body Press set, this game feels already kind of over. Rotom's going to Thunderbolt into Sableye. Doesn't do that much. We get another Choice Specs Boomburst off. I mainly have to worry about like them pivoting into Garchomp and then sweeping me after getting a Swords Dance off, for example. But that does illegal damage. Orthworm can't even Shed Tail now. Dude! Toxtricity literally did like 50% to Orthworm there. What? What? And it was Garchomp in the back, but now I can just burn you and Boomburst. This is I knew this duel would be strong. I didn't really get to see it too much in practice. This is madness. And because we're normal typing here, I only have to worry about like fainting to an Earthquake. I am very, very amazed by the damage output here. They're not going to Terra. Will-O-Wisp is just going to connect. I mean, Boomburst might just be a double KO here, honestly. I really didn't expect to bring Orthworm under 50%. That's why I brought Pelipper in the back, by the way, though, right? Because I was like, I need special damage to potentially deal with this. So, you're going to Earthquake. We've got Earth Eater. I had to learn the hard way about this Pokemon's ability a couple of episodes back. But now we know. Life Orb, that practically does nothing to us. Here's another Choice Specs Boomburst. This is madness. Okay. Oh my gosh. This thing is about to just pick up every single knockout in the game. It's gonna be Iron Defense, but it's way too late. But like, that's the beauty of it, right? My opponent didn't really have... Well, I was gonna say they had one resistance, but is it really a resistance when you do 50% to your opponent with an attack? It doesn't feel like it, right? That is absolutely wild. Holy moly. Their best bet would have been like Wide Guard potentially. We don't even need to Quash here, sorry. Just Snarl and Boomburst. Yeah, if they had like Wide Guard on Armor Rouge in a best of 3, that's probably the adjustment you make, because this was obviously just so strong. but I'm very happy to feature what this duo can do. I really like this team because there's so many cool components to it. Honestly, everything on the team is so beautiful. It's one of the reasons why I wanted to feature it. Like, there's so many fun components, and naturally, I think for, like, when I was practicing with the team, it was easier to default to Pelipper plus the Drednaw. But man, when you get Sableye and the Toxtricity out like that, it just feels wrong. Like, that was so powerful. We couldn't have asked for a better game to showcase it, because it was like, Toxtricity wasn't really threatened offensively on turn 1, and like, they didn't protect with Meowscarada. We just got the knockout onto that. You know, if Meowscarada just goes for knockoff, I don't have choice specs, you know, on turn 2. Like, protect into knockoff, for example, would be pretty bad for me. So I'm wondering if they had protect even in the first place. But yeah, that's what this duo can do, and it is absolutely nasty. Okay, this is the team that I just featured with Aaron Trailer, which is very, very fun. I want to bring Toxtricity in this one, I think. Against Hydreigon plus Meowscarada, I could totally just go Sableye plus Toxtricity. I guess the problem is Dual Darks means that I can't. I also have to really worry about Sylveon Hyper Voice. I think Pelipper Wide Guard's valuable. Tsareena pretty good into Dondozo. Yeah, Sableye I think is a must-bring here for potential Will-O-Wisp onto Dondozo. I'm down to give Sableye Toxtricity lead a shot here. I haven't really been able to bring Toxtricity thus far. I think this is a fairly weak game for the Drednaw. It's not very good into the Dondozo Tatsugiri combo. Pelipper has Wide Guard. I think we bring Kingambit. Honestly, I kind of want to go with Tsareena here. Because Tsareena covers for a lot of... Oh, actually, what was the terror on the Dondozo? I want to say it was Steel typing, but I actually don't remember off the top of my head right now. Because when I used this team with Aaron, which you can watch in the description below, by the way, I'll link that video. It was really, really fun. Yeah, we didn't bring Dondozo out once, sadly. Oh, actually, no, I think it was Grass Terra Dondozo. Okay. So, they're going to lead Meowscarada plus the Hydreigon. You could Tailwind, you could Trick Room. I've got Fake Out. I don't want to get hit by a Draco here. Kind of down to Fake Out Boomburst here, honestly. I guess the awkward thing is I brought no Pokemon with Protect here. Okay, I'm gonna Fake Out Boomburst. I wonder if it was worth tearing the Toxtricity here. Yeah, we're gonna knock off. Hydreigon flinches. We'll get Boomburst off. Oh, wait, Terra would have been so strong there. That did so much damage, jeez. Okay, well, you can, like, knock off Draco, knock off Dark Pulse. Kingambit can finish things off with a Sucker Punch right now, which is pretty good. I'm gonna Snarl here. I wonder if it's worth switching out Toxtricity. And go, yeah, I think it's worth it, because I think conserving Toxtricity for a potential Dondozo is valuable. Given this lead, I actually really don't expect Dondozo in the back, though. And I think Assault Vest Kingambit's very good into the opposing side right now. Okay, it's going to be Flower Trick, that's fine. Wow, I did not expect that to KO, but is the Meowscarada in Overgrow range? It might be. Dark Pulse and Kingambit. Take that. Okay. So I can bring in Choice Scarf Tsareena now, which is pretty sweet. And I can actually just U-turn out and Sucker Punch here, which I think is fairly strong. I guess the fear is a potential Trick Room from Meowscarada. U-turn into Hydreigon. If they Trick Room, that's actually good for me, because Kingambit would sweep them under Trick Room. I guess the problem is I don't know if Sucker Punch will KO Meowscarada here. I could always U-turn Meowscarada. They'll Draco into that slot most likely, so I'd sacrifice Toxtricity. That doesn't seem ideal. U-turn out. Yeah, I'll just U-turn Sucker Punch. Look, Meowscarada doesn't have any bulk, so I could actually see Sucker Punch KOing here. Okay, they are going to attack. Oh, hangs on with like literally 1 HP. That's unfortunate. Maybe that works in my favor though, because then it denies them 2 free switch-ins immediately. But Scarf Tsareena will get the KO there. I just like, right now, the Meowscarada's offensive pressure isn't as scary. The problem is I might lose Toxtricity here to a knockoff, and that would not be ideal. Yeah, I really thought Sableye would survive earlier. We're going to go for knockoff here. I'm just going to get the KO. Okay, so the problem is I'm like Scarf locked a little bit earlier in this endgame than I'd really like to be. We have a lot of good offense, but I feel like I probably could have gained a larger advantage from this early game. Mainly curious what's in the back. Because I think Assault Vest Kingambit is just really solid overall. If we see a Tatsugiri or a Dondozo come out, you know, then surely the last one is the other one of that duo. Choice Scarf Tatsugiri, something to respect. It is going to be Tatsugiri coming out. Okay. And it's Grass Terra on the Dondozo. So I think like Meowscarada switch, like it might be actually. I can't like just assume they have Dondozo as the 4th. It would make sense here though, in my opinion. I mean, if that's the case, I'd want a drop kick here and cleave, double up into Meowscarada. You could just stay in and attack with both here. I think that's also viable. I think the problem is, if you have Dondozo now, you just switch into Dondozo. I don't think I really do enough. Oh, a Draco, okay. So I survive that. That really makes me wonder what their final Pokemon is. No Terra on either end still, by the way. We're going to get the cleave off here, but it should survive. It is Dondozo in the end, and I could have like maybe considered doubling up on Tatsugiri. It is Dondozo. Really nicely managed here. Yeah. Like, I needed Toxtricity for the late game Dondozo, but I lost Toxtricity way too early on in this game. So, like, should have considered maybe switching. Nice job on their end, by the way, to, like, not just get greedy and switch in Dondozo immediately. Because now with Grass Terra, I think I'm in a really bad spot. I have no way around it either. So they're just going to Grass Terra here. And we just don't do enough damage. Like, I needed to conserve Toxtricity and Sableye to beat Dondozo, and they did a really good job conserving it in the conserving it for the back. Pelipper plus Drednaw really wouldn't have done much for me here, so yeah. I needed to lead better, essentially. What would I have led, though? I guess they could always mess up and not Terra here for some bizarre reason. Flying Terra at least makes me immune to the Earthquake that they have. Yeah, I'll just cleave here. I probably should have Terra'd one of these 2 Pokemon this turn, just to try to survive and get another hit off, but with Grass Terra Dondozo here, I don't really have too much of an out. The problem is, I think even if I KO Tatsugiri, the Meowscarada would have just been able to knock out my Tsareena, which is no good for me. Yeah, we do literally no damage with that. It does decrease their attack at least. Okay, they're going to actually commit Wave Crash here. Well, it gives me 2 chances to crit, basically. One here with the Kingambit and then a Sucker Punch the subsequent turn. But it does practically no damage. Yeah. I needed to conserve Toxtricity to deal with this, and I lost it way too early on, so... It's funny, when I had used that team with Aaron, we literally never got to use Dondozo, and here my opponent played it with it really, really well. So nicely done. Very nicely done. I just did not even have an opportunity to go for a Terra in this game. The Dondozo is just really strong, right? Like, you can bring it out in the right position, whether it be early or late, it can just win you games. And the way my opponent managed this end game with it was very nice in my opinion. Instead of Overdrive on turn 1, I think I could have... Well, Sludge Bomb wouldn't have really been that great because Tsareena would have been able to just... sorry, not Tsareena. Meowscarada had Focus Sash, would be able to survive on 1 HP. I don't really love Pelipper or Drednaw on this one either. Because I think, like, the Meowscarada having Focus Sash is actually what makes this kind of a nightmare to deal with, right? Also because the dual Dark lead means that Sableye can't really accomplish too much with, like, Quash or Will-O-Wisp, which is frustrating. So I feel like I had the right tools. I'm not sure how the execution really should go, though. I think Pelipper or Drednaw just like, feels a little risky into Focus Sash Meowscarada. Maybe I should reconsider the leads, then? What would I do, though? I mean, that's why, like, the Aaron's team is so brilliant, right? Like, I can't think of a super good solution off the top of my head. I'm sure if I had some time to think about it, like, more time to think about it, I could come up with something. But, yeah. Something I gotta give some thought to. Anyway, really nicely played by my opponent, and great awareness to not switch in. I think, like, the one way I could have maybe won that is if they switched Dondozo out immediately, and then Tatsugiri just, like, ate it up. Then we just get a huge amount of damage with the drop kick immediately before a Terra, and then that would be enough maybe for us to just finish it off. But because they didn't go for that, I put them in a really good position. I think a lot of players would maybe just get a little bit greedy and switch in there, and so good awareness to just sacrifice the Meowscarada there. Recognizing, hey, like, I could KO Meowscarada, or I could KO the Tatsugiri, but if I double up on Tatsugiri, Meowscarada will get a big attack off. I think the other thing is I just wasn't expecting Flower Trick to KO Sableye. I was expecting to get a Snarl off earlier in that battle, and that would have been able to... Well, actually, it wouldn't have really finished things off anyway. So, yeah. Really well played by my opponent there. Okay, this is the Abomasnow Rotom Frost Kilowattrel team that I featured at the very start of the ranked season. If you want to see me try out this team, check out the video, link down in the description below. What do I want to do here? We have a lot of interesting options. It's Choice Band on Garchomp. I think Garchomp in general is just very scary to go up against. Ice Spinner is going to be the solution from Drednaw. Drednaw's Rock Slides are fairly valuable here as well. I kind of value Sableye, Fake Out, and Quash in this game. I think Kingambit's very good. I think we probably don't bring Tsareena. I'm thinking... I'm worried about, like, their Kilowattrel setups. What would they lead with Kilowattrel that's really scary, though? Who do I want in the back? Probably Kingambit, right? I think it's probably Sableye, Kingambit, Pelipper, Drednaw. I'm trying to figure out what order is best for that. Honestly, I'm kind of down for a Sableye Drednaw lead with Pelipper and Kingambit in the back. Alright, let's go for this. Basically, the logic here is that with this, I can switch in Pelipper on turn 1 and win the Weather War. I just don't want to lead Pelipper into their Abomasnow and then lose the Weather War immediately. That would be pretty bad. We also have to consider that it's Water Terra on the Rotom with Discharge and Assault Vest. Okay, they go with Kilowattrel and Arcanine. This is where having the Clear Amulet is really sweet. If I remember correctly, the Arcanine on the opposing end does not have Will-O-Wisp. Actually, don't remember if that's the case. Because the play I want to go for is just Fake Out. Kilowattrel. Rock Slide. Pretty easy to just protect with both Pokemon on turn 1. They're going to go for a Terra? I did not mean to click that. Wait, what? Okay. Well, I lost my Terra in this game. Oh my gosh, Rock Slide. I literally did not realize I had clicked the Terra there. Oh my gosh. Arcanine eats the citrus up. Yep. And they flinch. Did the Arcanine have Will-O-Wisp? I honestly don't remember, because if so, they were probably going for Will-O-Wisp. Anyway, that was a waste of a Tera, but obviously still a very, very strong turn 1 here for us. I literally didn't even realize I'd hovered over the Tera option there, which is kind of funny. But, yeah. I don't think Arcanine really would have done anything to threaten us there. Like, at best, it's a Flare Blitz and a Sableye. The fact they didn't protect Kilowattrel put me in a much better position. I expect maybe Rotom Max and then, like, Thunderbolt or Discharge here. That's so funny. I am down to go for a Snarl here and a Protect this turn, because I want to bait out the Tera from Rotom. But yeah, make sure you double check if you accidentally Tera, because that's a first. That's literally a first. Should be a Abomasnow coming in. Yep. Abomasnow coming in, Tera, Rotom, and then Electric onto an Electric type attack on a Drednaw makes the most sense here. Fortunately for us, like, Tera wouldn't have really changed much so far in this game. What would I have Terra'd in the end game, though? I think I'm not going to Tera the Kingambit. Kingambit actually should just win against him at this point, honestly. Like, turn 1 was just so strong. They just let Drednaw get a KO onto Kilowattrel. I was surprised to not see a Protect, but maybe they just weren't anticipating Fake Out. Drednaw protects. Beautiful. They Thunderbolt. And we will now get Snarl off with Sableye. Cool. Okay. Now I can just switch into Pelipper. If I were them, I would protect Abomasnow and Thunderbolt again, personally. I'm down to Snarl here again. You're Water type now. I think Snarl switching to Kingambit's fine. Kingambit just wins this game at this point. I think them not bringing out Garchomp just makes this so much easier for me. Because Garchomp is the main Pokemon I'm worried about. And I don't actually see how they beat an Assault Vest Kingambit with the 3 Pokemon they have at this point. Other than getting a Freeze. Abomasnow did not protect here. A nice play, actually. They Earth Power into that slot. Okay. You can see, yeah, that still does less than half to us. So I'll get Snarl off once again. I'm down to just Quash into Abomasnow. Oh, it is actually Berry Abomasnow on the opposing end. I forgot about that. Huh, that actually makes things pretty interesting, right? We should still win with Pelipper and Drednaw on the back, though, especially with this being at -2 at this point. It should actually survive, though. Oh, that's kind of annoying, isn't it? That is kind of annoying. Okay. You know what? I'm going to just Quash this, and then... yeah, just target Rotom. Well, that probably just wins us the game, right? You're just activating Defiant now, so I'm definitely KOing Rotom. The only thing that would mess me up here is Thunderbolt or Discharge Para into full Para or a Blizzard Freeze. I think our matchup here is just honestly insane, though. Like, Kingambit just hard wins against this Arcanine, Abomasnow, Rotom trio. No freeze. Sweet. And I should get a KO. Cool. I do have to worry about Flare Blitz now from the Arcanine, but I think what we can do is just switch Sableye out into Pelipper, change the weather. Drednaw should win the game against Abomasnow and Arcanine at that point, barring Rock Slide misses. Trying to figure out a way to win without having to rely on Rock Slide, but... like, if I were them, I'd probably protect Abomasnow and Flare Blitz. So I'm down to switch out into Pelipper here. And Sucker Punch. And even if Arcanine... oh, I guess Arcanine could theoretically Extreme Speed here, but I don't think they're beating Pelipper Drednaw in this endgame. I think it was maybe smarter to Sucker Punch the Abomasnow, but I wasn't actually sure if I'd get the KO if I went for that slot, whereas I feel more confident KOing Arcanine here. Good Protect, though. Nicely done. But the thing is, I don't care about that, because now if you KO the Kingambit, it's a free switch into Drednaw, and then I can just go for the KO onto Arcanine and then Hurricane onto Abomasnow. So even if Kingambit goes down here, it's totally fine. It actually survives. Cool. Like, I can just Hurricane you now. And Sucker Punch again. Now Abomasnow should probably protect. Arcanine can finish off Kingambit with the... I wonder if Extreme Speed KOs us. Because that Arcanine is actually really offensive. It's like an Adamant Nature, 156 attack EVs. So it's like, I'm playing safely here because it doesn't matter. Like, yeah, they're getting all these turns correctly, but we have such a big lead that I don't think it really makes any of a difference. Although, maybe instead of Sucker Punch, it would have been better to... Like, I could play this a little bit more optimally to speed things up, but there's still no way for them to win, really, here. Because I'm faster with Pelipper into Abomasnow. And, like, they just can't really beat Pelipper. So we're just going to Hurricane here. Yeah, I should have just gone for this last turn. But it just makes the game drag on for, like, 1 or 2 more turns. Yeah, there's Extreme Speed. We'll finish off Abomasnow, and then Drednaw can come back and finish off this game for us. Okay. There's Hurricane. So yeah, I think the Pokemon I was most worried about from their end was Garchomp. I also think, like, if Kilowattrel just protects on turn 1, it's a completely different game. But the Drednaw lead was just so good into what they had, right? Like, especially because we had the Clear Amulet as well. Really glad to feature the value of this item. It makes all the difference. So we can just Tailwind now in case they protect. Waterfall. I mean, Waterfall's just going to KO. Yeah. I think that, like, turn 1 Rock Slide was as good as you'll ever get from a Drednaw like that. The fact that we just got a 1-hit KO onto Kilowattrel after the Fake Out, breaking Focus Sash, and then did, like, 75% to Arcanine was wild. But it helps that I played against this team as well. Knowing that Arcanine didn't have Will-O-Wisp made me, you know, not have to worry about Arcanine the slightest, because I knew the Drednaw basically completely walled them. So, yeah. Anyway, that's going to be it for this one. So thank you so much as always for watching. I honestly had so much fun with this video, and we got to feature so many cool combinations. So thanks once again to Joshua for building and sharing this team. Find him in the description below, as well as a rental and a paste. My name's Aaron CybertronZang. If you enjoyed, it would really mean a lot if you would leave a like in the video or consider subscribing, and I'll see you all next time. All right, peace.